it to lots of love, lots of warmth, and please go wild for Charlotte Graham. Give it up!
Hello, I'm Charlotte, and for the past 3 years I've spent my days staring at fly genitalia. It's a strange fetish, I agree. So I'm a third year PhD student and I'm researching aging using fruit flies. Now, normally when I tell people that I use fruit flies, I get a lot of confused looks, but we've actually got more in common than you'd think. So this might just relate to me, but they actually have a gene which is in control of sensing alcohol intoxication, and this just so happens to be called cheap date. So apart from providing me with some fairly unusual Tinder date conversations over the years, or maybe the reason why I still am single, they are actually really good for aging research. Now, in my lab, we use the flies for genetic purposes, and for this we need to take males and females of a certain genotype, put them together, and give them some alone time. But as we really care about our flies, we want to make sure that the mood is set just right for them. So for this, we give them some good food, we make sure they've got a warm environment, and occasionally, if I'm up to it, I like to sing them a little bit of Marvin Gaye, just to make it perfect for them. And then we sit back and watch the magic, wait for the magic to happen. If only my sex life was this successful. So going back to how flies are similar to humans, a paper came out this year which showed that male flies actually find sex pleasurable. And this is great because it's the first time we've seen it in any insect. So the way that the experiment worked was they genetically modified the male flies so that when they were in presence of a red light, they would ejaculate. So I'll just give that a moment to sink in for you. So basically they then put them in a box, and at one side there was a red light, at the other side it was normal light. And then they gave the flies a chance to see which way they went, and they found that they went to the red light. So basically the result of this experiment was just a box full of flies wanking to each other. But the other result from this experiment was that the flies that were denied sex, so in the normal light, they drank more alcohol. I don't know about you, but I could probably tell you that just by visiting the big market on a Saturday night. And the second thing was that they found that the flies that ejaculated the most often, the ones in the red light, they didn't drink the alcohol. So come on, we all have that one friend who was an absolute party animal when they were single, but now they're in a relationship, they don't touch the drink. So my favourite thing about being a fly scientist is the terminology that we use on a day-to-day basis. For instance, collecting virgins. Let me just explain. So because most of the work that we do is genetic, we need to collect female virgins so that we know the exact genotype of the offspring. So if they're not female virgins, they go straight to the fly morgue. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But at this point, I would just like to say that I am a feminist. I do not condone slut shaming, and I believe that all females deserve to have sex when they want to. Except my flies. No screwing until I say so. So the most popular question that I get over the years is how we keep the flies, because clue is in the title, they fly. So we keep them in vials with a bit of food at the bottom, and if we need to change the food, we simply just flip them into new vials. So then we come to the problem, how do we collect them? So like our beloved virgins. Because sexing flying objects is as difficult as it sounds. So we first need to immobilise them, and we do this by gassing them with CO2. So I imagine this is probably sounding quite dodgy right now. But over the years, this is fairly normal for me, and sometimes I forget. So you can imagine the look of horror that I get off some people when I bring this up in public. 999, what's your emergency? Hiya, yeah, I think someone's trying to kill all the virgins in Newcastle. They're talking about gassing them and using them for experiments. Yeah, so it's not great. So as a scientist, I always get asked if I like the TV programme The Big Bang Theory, because it's sciencey, it's geeky. But I actually really don't like the Big Bang Theory, because the stereotype for scientists is there for a reason, and it's no laughing matter when you have to work with those people. But of course I'm not talking about my lovely lab mates who are here tonight. Be nice to them, it's their first time socialising for a while. Just look after them. So even though some scientists aren't that bad, I do have a confession. I am stereotypically a bit geeky. I love all things geek. I love Harry Potter, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. And this year I hit the pinnacle of geekiness when I started to play Dungeons and Dragons. I know. I don't help myself. It's like I want to die alone. But if you see me out on a Sunday night, I am no longer Charlotte. I am Cora, the 3-foot halfling paladin at your service. So I just thought I'd leave you with this final story. So as a PhD student, we do have to look after undergrad students a lot. And it's not uncommon to just give them all the boring, shitty jobs that you don't want to do. In my instance, that's decapitating flies. Yeah, very fiddly job. So one year we had this girl, and I sat her down, showed her how to do it, made sure she could do it, and I said I'd be back in the office doing work if she needed me. Being back in the office doing work, meaning I was on Tinder and drinking some coffee. So as I got to the door, I heard a little giggle, and I was like, it's a bit odd. And I turned around, lingered, and then I heard, ooh, I feel so powerful. Yeah, it was safe to say we haven't stayed in contact. But yeah, all scientists aren't that bad, I promise. Thank you very much, you've been lovely.